hot take for the day. Ja Morant is going to be the next face of the NBA. Hear me out. This guy is in his third year. He already is making a case to be an MVP. I wouldn't even be surprised if he won the MVP this year. The Grizzlies are currently third in the West. They're third in the league, from what I know, in terms of record. Ja Morant's advanced stats are off the charts. He has a 33.2% usage, seventh in offensive box plus minus, only behind Trey Young in terms of point guard, 10th in box plus minus. He's pretty much top 25 in every overall category, which I know isn't that high for MVP cases, but it's context. He's in his third year. He's only going to get better. We're expecting another big leap at some point. He's averaging 27, 7 and 6 on good efficiency. Ja Morant's must-see TV. I think the league has picked up Memphis and their games on national TV a little bit more than we have in the past, and that's mainly driven by Ja. And I think the key thing is, in terms of this, the next face of the NBA has never particularly wanted a European or a foreign basketball player to be the face of their league. I think we saw that with LeBron. Giannis could very well be the face, but given Giannis's background, being from Greece and originating from Nigeria, I think there's hesitancy from the NBA about how marketable Giannis is to a predominantly American population that watches basketball. And Ja has a very humble upbringing. He was, I think his story is pretty well documented at this point. He didn't really have any D1 offers. He had just a mid-major offer that he had. That's the school that he went to. He was kind of overlooked his whole career. It's a very marketable story for the NBA, and I think the NBA is picking up on that. And I think if Ja continues on this trajectory that he's on, it's going to be hard to have anyone else as the face of the league. I mean, if you turn on ESPN right now, you go on the score, you go on TSN, you go on whatever, you're going to see a Ja Morant highlight. That's just the way it is. Like, he is a captivating player. He's sort of won over all the fans. And Memphis, the team, the way they are right now, very much reminds me of pre-Kevin Durant Golden State. You have a team that's organically built from the draft. A lot of their guys were drafted. They don't really have any big free agent signings. They don't really have any outsider coming in to take them over the top. They drafted Jaren Jackson Jr. They drafted John Morant. They built the pieces around them. Steven Adams, Desmond Bain might win Most Improved Player of the Year. This is a team built from the ground up, and the general public loves that. Memphis doesn't really have any haters. John Morant doesn't really have any haters, so to speak. Like, he's pretty much unanimously loved right now. Memphis is pretty much unanimously loved right now. And as they keep moving up the standings, as Ja keeps getting better, as Jaren Jackson Jr. keeps getting better, it's going to be hard to have a bigger star than Ja in the league because of the way he plays, the position he plays. He's 6'3". He's not like some. He's an like athletically, yeah, he's very impressive. But in terms of his stature, he's very much like an average human being. He's only 6'3", kind of like Steph. Like, he looks real to people when they walk by him on the street. He's very he's not like a superhero sort of in terms of his build, and I think those are all things the NBA can pick up and really use to market Ja as the face of their league. And I truly believe in the next 3 years, Ja Morant will win at least one MVP. He could lead Memphis to at least the Western Conference Finals. That might even happen this year. I actually have Memphis going to the Western Conference Finals this year. And I think that he can win a championship with the roster that Memphis has around him, which would kind of give the NBA no choice but to make this kid the face of their league.
Interesting. So you can see it right now. You can see that turning to ESPN, whatever. All I see is Ja Morant everywhere. And I think he really picked up definitely good timing, because if you think about all the stars right now, the leading all-star getters, all those guys that, like, I guess fans have gravitated towards, they're all mid starting to reach high 30s, right?
They're
Like
old.
the
They're
James
old for NBA
Hardens,
standards.
Curry, Durant, they're old. And
Yeah,
you try to look at the new guys coming in. So I think one of the key things is you have to have a successful team in order to be the face of the NBA. And I'm just even like looking through like key contributors on teams like the Heat. Let's say they have a fairly old roster with their main contributors. Obviously, Bam is young, Tyler Harrow has come in, but those guys really, I don't think, can really be the face of the league. Joel Embiid, a lot of people gravitate towards him, but once again, I really agree that being American does help out, because even when NBA offseason comes through, there's Olympics, there's World Cup. Everyone always talks about Team USA. Nobody ever mentions like, oh, you should watch out for Team Greece. The only real buzz that's ever been around was, oh, look out, Team Serbia actually has like a bunch of NBA players. But realistically, the focus is always on USA and the Americans. But even just going through Ja's situation, like, he's ascending at the right time. He's a young star, and there isn't really that many opposers to him. Like you could say maybe Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown, but I feel like the Boston Celtics narrative kind of is getting old now, and they're not as
I
relevant.
just I just don't think Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown are as good. They're not as captivating. They're not as exciting to watch.
But maybe I guess maybe like something like LaMelo Ball, if the Hornets ever, he really has like a huge ascend like Jaw where you can bring them up to well above 500 because I know he's great TV and you see a lot of Hornets highlights sometimes on there. At least I do. I can see that across, but like anywhere across the board, face of the NBA, I think he has to really be a strong favorite for it.
100%. And I think the only guy you mentioned LaMelo Ball. I still think the gulf right now in talent and in team success in just overall talent in terms of who's the
Yeah.
better basketball player
I don't
between.
think it's even close.
I
I'm
don't
just
even think
saying,
it's
like,
close. They're
somebody
not in
of
the same league.
LaMelo Ball has the potential only because he was like media popular before he even
Yeah,
got
the
to the NBA.
intangibles,
And
the
if Charlotte
marketability,
ever
etc.
picks up steam or whatever, they're gonna ESPN's gonna jump right on him, right?
Yep, yep,
Like the
yep.
moment that
Agreed.
happens.
And I think talent wise, the only guy who's that young who can compete in talent, I would say, is Luca. But again, Luca's European. I don't know how marketable he is. I just it's
I
not the
could tell you
same.
over here, across the pond, when I was in obviously Eastern Europe, he's on a lot of advertisements. But like obviously from the American point of view, I'm not sure if he's that popular, and even he's already beginning to get some negative press, not being a great teammate, being a diva, like issues with Porzingis and stuff. You haven't really
Yeah,
seen anything come up with the Grizzlies, but we won't, right? Like, let's
we
say
we
you
won't.
have them going to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
I could see them potentially being a first round exit, depending on who they get, and it won't necessarily be a
no
jaw
way.
thing. It'll be depends on the experience of the team they match up with.
Who's
But they
beating them
haven't
in the
had
first round? Come on, man.
the Nuggets.
No way.
The
No.
Nuggets have been underachievers for a while, and they have some fire there, and they should have a couple guys coming back. So I think just
It's
experience
it's
alone.
funny. It's funny that you picked the Nuggets because
I'd pick the
if
Mavs
the
if they sit at 6. I could pick the Mavs too.
no if the playoffs were to start today, that first round matchup is actually Memphis and Denver.
Yep.
So you
But
have
you know
Denver
what?
upsetting
I
the
would take
Grizzlies.
the Mavericks over the Grizzlies as well. And I think we're
No way.
forgetting
Oh my
about Luka
god.
Doncic. I know Kawhi's beaten him twice in the playoffs, but I don't think we remember how badly Luka Doncic actually outperformed Kawhi and Paul George in those series.
I will
Like
argue
he
that
was
Luka
putting up,
Doncic
yeah,
is worse this year. He's worse right now
he's
than he
worse.
was in those series. He's not as good of a. He's out of shape.
No, I think he turned it up in the postseason.
I don't think he can. He's out of shape. He
No, but he
looks
historically he
slow.
has.
Historically, he has. I'll give you that. I
Yeah,
think historically, Luka's been,
but
like
like
I said,
it'd be
talent
a
wise,
great
Luka won more.
storyline if they played. There'd be a head-to-head storyline. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if the Mavericks beat them.
I would. Listen, if we say Luka turns it up in the playoffs, and we're getting a little sidetracked here, but if we say Luka turns it up in the playoffs, and even if you say Luka versus Ja, Luka wins that matchup, the rest of the
Hmm.
roster around Memphis versus the rest of the roster around Dallas is not even close.
Do you think
Go ahead and let Luka get
the
50.
experience matters?
Memphis played in the playing game last year. Did Memphis make the playoffs last year?
They
They
did.
did,
They
right?
did. They lost in 5 to Utah.
Yeah. So they got at least one series under their belt. They got the play-in game, which simulates kind of a Game 7 type environment under their belt. I just don't see a way for Dallas with that roster to beat Memphis in a 7-game series, regardless of how Luca does. But
Yep.
again, I think that would be great for the league, and I think it
Be
would be a
great
great
TV.
stepping stone. It would be great TV. It would be a great stepping stone for Ja to, if Memphis wins that series, to sort of overtake Luca in the eyes of the media as like that would be like almost his confirming that he is going to be the face of the league because Luca's only guy like at that age that can compete talent wise
Yep.
with Ja, in my opinion. And I think
But
Ja
I
and
think
Memphis,
success has to follow, like to be the
yes,
face of the league, because it'll
I
be
agree.
hard for him to be the face of the league if, let's say, something hypothetically like the Bucks are winning like 3 out of the next 4 championships.
Yes, I agree. I think if the Bucks win 3 out of 4, you have no choice but to make Giannis the
Yeah.
face of your league.
Or if the
Giannis,
Grizzlies fall to like a play-in level team, stuff like they have to be, get at least sustain postseason success and be like one of the main storylines in the NBA.
Yeah, I can't see the Grizzlies falling off other than for financial reasons. I think right now they have. I don't think Jaren
That's the
Jackson's
other
signed
thing.
an
They're
extension.
second or first smallest market.
Yeah, yeah. I think Jaw is still on his rookie deal. He's gonna get a max, obviously. I don't know if they've signed Jaren Jackson to
He
an
will.
extension. He might be up for one this year. And then they're going to have guys like Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, who I think is overrated, but Dylan Brooks and some of their other pieces who are going to be coming up and expecting paydays. They're going to be expecting to get paid, and I don't know if they're going to
Mhm.
be able to keep everyone. But we can kick the can down the road for that and figure that cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, I think trajectory wise, it's hard for me to pick somebody else other than John Morant being the face of the NBA. 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
But that's the thing, right? Like right now, the main faces of the NBA, these guys are all, I want to say, 32 to 36 years old right now.
It's
And
going to
what's
be wide
Jaw?
open.
Low 20s? Like it's like that
I think
gap
Jaw's
between
21 or
like the
22.
yeah, that gap between like 25 years old, I guess, to like 30. I don't think anyone even stands out in that crew right now. It's like a real favorite to be the face of the
Nope.
NBA, unless like
Yeah.
Giannis fits in that bucket.
No, there isn't. There isn't anyone. There isn't any American player. We'll put it that way. If we're
Yeah.
using the assumption that it's going to be an American player, which I think it is, and you also think it is, Giannis and Luka are the only two players who I think can potentially be it, and neither of them are American. And I think that's a huge marketability, like marketing liability, I guess, for the NBA.
Hmm.
If they're non-American, it's just harder to market them to a predominantly American audience. So I think Ja takes the advantage in those categories, and I don't know. It's just hard for me to picture anyone else other than Ja being the face of the NBA 5 years from now. He's the kid's the
Yeah.
real